Well, I'm very excited to jump into what we have planned for not just today, but an ongoing sort of series. And it's really to start bridging that gap between the internet marketing that we're hearing about and then relating it to people that already have existing businesses, like small business owners, whether your business is online, brick and mortar, service type business, anything and everything in between. So, really, how to break it down, kind of starting with some basics, but so that way everyone can be on the same page, understand exactly the vocab and the terms that we're using, and then we're going to jump in and really get down to it. And the cool part, too, that I mentioned is, I'm creating and walking through a new business venture myself. And, part of this series is everything I'm going to be talking about, and we're going to be creating, throwing out some terms like landing pages and all that sort of stuff. So being able to, hey, well, here's the landing page that I just am making for my new business launch. So it really helps to bridge that gap for you guys and relating, like I said, those terms. Also for people that are interested in getting started in internet marketing, and it's completely overwhelming. I dived into this world about December of last year, and yes, you really are just muddling through and all these new terms, and you're like, ah. And for me, it really took a while to be able to figure them out, and then also be able to put them in the scope of reference to my business and basically the way that I'm thinking and programming and relating that. So hopefully this too will shorten your learning curve so that you're not trying to figure this all out. I can kind of tell you what I've learned and how at least I'm able to look at these things related to things that I'm already aware of, and that way it'll make sense better. So let's just dive right in. Okay, so when we're talking about marketing online with a business, there's two different aspects. The traditional way is your potential customers are looking for your service. So that means they've already identified that they want, an example for me, oh, okay, well, I know I want a pony ride for my child's birthday. So then they're going to be searching for pony rides, and my job, the point of being on the internet is to make sure that my business will appear when someone's looking for a pony ride. So that's the traditional sense of it. And you definitely need to have that aspect for people looking. However, there's a whole different side of it, and most business owners focus on that, is being able to, once somebody is looking for your service or your type of business, it's being able to put yourself out in front, and that's important. But here's the thing to keep in mind is that, they say 3% of the population is looking for your service or your product at any given time. If you take 100 people and say, hey, how many people are looking to buy a new car? Roughly about 3%. Oh, how many people are looking to get a new cell phone? About 3%. So kind of that regards to things. And that's where, like they say, there's a lot of blood in the water, a lot of competition. And that's also where your customers are very price savvy because they're comparing you to all of your competition. So that's not a bad way to do it. It's never going to go away, but just to keep in mind that there's basically two folds. So in this sense, people are already looking for your service, and now your job is to stand out and let them find you. The other way, which this is what we're going to be going into, and this is the internet marketing side of it, is that your job is to be able to find the customers. So you want to find them, connect to them, and start building a relationship with these potential customers before they're even looking for you and your service. So relating it back to the birthday party ideas, I'm going to start being able to cultivate and look to, I can take it very broad and, just try to connect with moms in my local area that have younger kids. So that's just finding that potential customer. Or before they're looking for my exact service, I can say, okay, well, I want to be able to connect with these people when they start to plan their birthday party rather than they've already decided that they want a petting zoo. So hopefully that makes sense. So there's kind of two aspects. You can go very broad and just start connecting with potential customers in general, or at the very beginning of their buying or decision making process before they're specifically looking for your service, aka they're finding you along with all your competitors. So there's just two folds in that sense. So we're going to be focusing on the seeking out, connecting, and building relationships with people before they're looking, which is really awesome. So here's just a few things to keep in mind. The world that you're about to enter into is very not hard and challenging, it's just new, and just keeping that in mind. So being aware of, if you want to be successful at this, you need to be a really good student first. The people that are sharing all this information, and I'm sharing this, and you're hearing it from Gil, you hear things on the internet with all these different people. There's no really right or wrong ways. Definitely, like we covered last week, being aware of who you're listening to. But the bottom line is, whoever you decide to listen to, whether it's myself and Gil or other people, you need to be able to be a very good student with what they're teaching and being able to follow directions and things like that. And then the other flip side of it is make sure, just to throw it out there, successful leaders are also good followers. So eventually, when we're talking about being leaders, you can take that to, oh, I personally want to be a big leader, or I want my business or my company to be the leader or the best one in the industry. If we're talking, like I said, relating it back to my business and birthday parties, oh, well, I want my new business to be, the pinnacle of, oh, that's the expert in that industry. So I'm still a leader in that regards, and people are looking at me, or my business for that expert or authority type of site. So just keep in mind, you need to be a good student or a good follower in order to master these basics to set yourself up to where you need to go. As far as the training process goes, yes, I already understand it's going to be a lot. You have to commit to it. And that's why I like to give you guys the overall picture. So most people, when they're talking about putting their business online, it's so that they can learn like the little SEO tricks and things like that to be getting found when people are looking for you. Important. But if you want to commit to this other side of things and connecting with your customers and branding yourself before they're looking, you have to really commit and want that aspect, because it's not going to happen overnight. I'm not saying it's going to be incredibly difficult, but there is a lot of work to put into that. You need to be a little sponge and just soak up all the information. We know it's a lot, but it's really, you're just going to be soaking and soaking that up. I like the analogy of a drinking glass. If your cup is totally full of water, we can't put any more, water in there. So you have to empty out some cup and just let yourself start to absorb it. And then here's the thing, is not to question it. I know it's hard. This is a big one for me, is not to question all of those things. But that's why you want to be very clear, and know who your mentors are. And if you pick a mentor and you've gone through the process like we talked about last week, and building up the idea of finding good mentors and who are you listening to, modeling behaviors from people that are actively doing it. So if you've gone through that, you've selected your mentors, then just don't question it. Whatever they're saying, if you found a mentor that's making, $5,000 online or $20,000 online or whatever that is, don't question what they're saying, as long as you found a good mentor who's actually going to be telling you how it is they're getting those results. And then really buckling down and focusing on this stuff. And then, like we said before, it's awesome to know it, but you have to be willing to go out and implement it. And taking that imperfect action and just getting through it. Because the more you do it, the more you can be tweaking things with it. Or a good example of that is just become like SpongeBob. Don't overthink it. Don't complicate it. He has a good attitude. He's always cheery and happy. We watch a lot of SpongeBob at my house. But really, keeping that simple aspect, taking your ego out of it, and really getting into it. And just, if someone says to do it, SpongeBob doesn't overthink. He just goes and does it. So be like SpongeBob and really just jump in and dive in. And here's the thing, is most of the time, especially when we're talking in terms of this internet marketing aspect of your business, people are going to fail because they're overwhelmed, not because they can't understand or can't do it. It's because there's too much. Imagine if we're talking about the overview and we're saying, oh, we're going to climb this mountain, and that's awesome. And then all I do is just tell you, you need to get to the top. I'm going to be at the top. This is the place to be. And here's all the tools that I got there. If you just take all of these tools, you dump it in a backpack, that's how I got to the top of the mountain. And it's literally leaving it on you to figure it out and know exactly, which tool you needed, exactly which part of this mountain climb. That's very hard and overwhelming. So make sure you're also finding a mentor that's going to be helping you to make sense of all these tools. And that's where I really want to break it down for you guys. And okay, well, here's all the different tools we're going to be talking about. An overview, if we're talking this mountain climbing, okay, well, this is the helmet, we use it here. This is the glove. We use it here and all of this. So kind of an overview of all the pieces, and then walking you through, and we're going to be climbing that mountain at the bottom. Okay, well, remember we talked about this tool. Well, we got to put our shoes on because we're at the bottom and things like that. So really breaking it down, and it's awesome to know the tools people are using, but if you don't have a sense of either what the tools are or the order to use them or how to actually use them, it's going to be very frustrating climbing that mountain. Not impossible, but most people will fail because they're overwhelmed and they just stop. So we want to keep you guys going, and this is also why we have these noon sessions. So we're going to be telling you and teaching you about the tools. Go there and start implementing it, and then yes, we're here. We can answer advice and keep you going and answer your questions, so that way you're not going to be feeling overwhelmed and lost. Or if you'll feel overwhelmed, we're going to help to, make sense of it so you can get it back under control, because we don't want you to fail and just quit because of that. And remember, keep in mind, this whole idea is, why are you learning all of this? It's because you want to get to the point that you know how to do this in your business. And you can literally command at any point, any amount of money from your business. Why? Because you know these principles and strategies. So we're going to be talking about strategies. However, like I was kind of emphasized, okay, principles, solid facts, strategies change all of the time. A lot of these things, they're kind of in the middle. They're a principle, but not a specific technique or a strategy. And then just keep in mind, do you want us to give you fish, or are you learning how to fish? Yes, it's going to be much more challenging right now, learning to fish and doing all of this aspect yourself. However, when it comes down to it and you're a master and you're an awesome fisherman, you will be able to command money from your business literally on demand, because you know these principles. One of my mentors likes to say, you know what, I've mastered it and I know it so well. You could take away everything, put me in a remote part of the world, and all I have is an internet, not any existing accounts or anything, but just an internet connection, and I can rebuild my business. That's where we want to get to you guys, is that, if you lose all of your tools and all your strategies and me and, Gil and everything and anything, and if you had to start over, you know this stuff and you can start over on your own. So that's where we want to get you to that point. And then the idea that you're investing in the results. You're not investing in, okay, well, I want all of this aspect, or, oh, I'm not willing to spend this money or put in my time. Yes, you're going to put in, time and money, because you want to get to that end result. So focus on where you want to get your business to go and not be so tripped up on, oh, well, this ad campaign is going to cost me, $50. I don't know if I'll get that back. No, the idea is if you're committed to this, that it will work, you're going to be putting in the time and resources to make sure you get the results that you and your business want.